Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. It's an emergency episode, ladies and gentlemen. Big news coming in the free agent market. The Cubs dropped the bag. They spent $175 million on Alex Bregman. We're going to talk about all of that. My instant-ish reaction. I am recording this the night of. Just got done watching that Bears-Packers game. What a game that was. I'm riding on 10 right now. So let's talk about Alex Bregman. Let's talk about the contract details. Where does this leave Matt Shaw and all of it? And then just a brief 2026 potential update, because obviously this is a tremendous change to the Cubs' future. They are committed to Alex Bregman. We're going to get into that in a moment. So this is, I talked about it in the video on Friday. Alex Bregman maybe wasn't my favorite option, but obviously this is a guy that the Cubs were really linked to here, these past years. So last year it didn't work out, but again, Alex Bregman, ladies and gentlemen, is, quote unquote, a really good baseball player. Okay, he's 32 years old. Last year, he last year he was injured a little bit, but he still did really, really solid work, honestly, with this Red Sox team. And you kind of got to give him credit where credit's due, because if you think about it, right, obviously he's coming in and he's going to be taking the spot of Matt Shaw. Alex Bregman needs to play every day. Alex Bregman is a professional Major League Baseball hitter. He's a career 272 hitter, okay? Just over 209 career home runs. Again, last year in 433 at-bats, which is, roughly a third of, Major League at-bats. Or not a third, two-thirds of Major League at-bats, because if you play a full season, you'll get closer to, 666 at-bats or so. But either way, taking a look at Alex Bregman's number last year, 3.5 WAR, 18 home runs, 273 batting average, 62 runs driven in. This is a strict offensive play for the Cubs, right? We need to replace Tucker in some capacity, and this is the way they are going to do it. I really do envision, I like him in the lineup as a right-handed hitter. I think it's going to play to him better at Wrigley Field. I just think Tucker had a rough time of it at Wrigley Field, and obviously if the wind's howling in from the lake, that's gonna hurt right-handed hitters or left-handed hitters a lot more than the right-handed hitters. And I think Alex Bregman is going to just be a great veteran presence in this lineup, right? Last year, a 128 OPS, 821 or 128 OPS plus, 821 OPS slugging, 462, 360 on base percentage. Again, this is not an indictment on Matt Shaw, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an indictment. Obviously, it's his first year, 3.1 WAR, right? But that 273 average, that's 50 points. That's several hits, and those hits could have led to so much more, right? I think Matt Shaw had a really good rookie year, and I think Matt Shaw's still gonna get a lot of reps in this game. He is, labeled a third baseman. He was drafted as a shortstop. I think he can play some second. We're gonna get to Matt Shaw in a moment, though, but this is just a big-time signing right here for the Cubs, right? We plug him in the two-hole, probably right behind Michael Busch. Seiya Suzuki still batting third. PCA batting fourth. This is just a great pickup for the Cubs. Maybe it wasn't the player that I wanted necessarily. Obviously, I think I would have much rather had Bichette or Tucker back. I would have loved to see Tucker on a revenge tour if he was able to stay healthy for a whole year, but this is, I'm just happy the Cubs went out and spent money, right? Comment section. Guys, you might have a Hall of Fame indictment in 5 years. I'm telling you right now, because the comments, I read them. Don't worry. And you're just like, this team doesn't do anything. They never do anything. Guess what? They did something. They took a swing of the bat. And that is all I can ask for as a fan. It might not work out. It might not work out with Bregman. And, just to get into a little more of the details, right? Bregman is here for the long haul, okay? It's 5 years, $175 million, no opt-outs, full no-trade clause, okay? Nothing whatsoever. So this does create a lot of different interesting dynamics, going here for it. Obviously, The Cubs don't have a lot of players on the roster past 2026, but Bregman will be here past 2026, right? That leaves Swanson, Mr. Bregman, and Phil Madion as major league contracts, right? Edward Cabrera is going to be on the team. PCA, Michael Busch, we all know those guys are going to be on the team. This was also leaving the question of Nico Hoerner, right? What are we going to do with Nico Hoerner? This kind of leaves the the door open for either us to trade Nico Hoerner or, hear me out, trade Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw has 6 years of team control left. That might pose a lot more juice than the 1 year of Nico Hoerner, right? Maybe, I'm not sure what Nico's going to garner in the free agent market. I don't know if 5 years, $100 million gets the job done for him. But either way, this kind of does create more flexibility, right? Edward Cabrera, right? You're like, okay, you traded for your pitcher. Now you have money to go spend the bat, right? They spend the money on the bat. They get a third baseman, all right? They had a good, young, talented third baseman. Don't get me wrong. This is not an indictment on Matt Shaw, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alex Bregman. He is a professional Major League Baseball hitter, okay? 32 years of age. Obviously, he has a lot more seasoned experience. He's a 2-time World Series champion. Just that stuff you can't teach. You have to experience it, and we just don't have enough of that on this team right now. So, good for us. Good for the Cubs to go out and spend money. You said Tom Ricketts doesn't spend. He just lines his pockets. He just spent $175 million over the next 5 years. I don't want to hear it anymore. So, here's the question, right? How will Matt Shaw be utilized in 2026? I think Matt Shaw is going to be here, okay? Unless the Cubs plan on trading for an absolutely insane player. And I mean insane, ladies and gentlemen. Skubal. That's it. Like, I only want to hear his name. If we're trading for Tariq Skubal and Skubal's going to extend here, that would be the only person I would consider trading Matt Shaw for. Because, again, I think Matt Shaw is such a good athlete, and I think he's such a talented player that he will absolutely plug right in at second base if we let Nico Hoerner walk and or trade him. And, again, all these guys are going to need days off. Bregman will need a day off at a point. Nico's going to need a day off. Dansby's going to need a day off. Matt Shaw can plug and play as it goes right there, right? Obviously, last year his defense was incredible. If Bregman started to struggle, he could be a defensive replacement. I think Matt Shaw's going to have a good role on this team. He's going to be the first guy off the bench, essentially, in that sense. I don't know. Maybe they give him some looks in outfield? What if they try him out in right field, right? I wouldn't mind that. He's such a talent defensively. I think he could adjust to anything. Now, playing right field at Wrigley is absolutely brutal, but hey, that's what really good athletes do. They're flexible. They can do things. They can switch positions without stretch. Again, he wasn't a third baseman, right? He's naturally a shortstop. He also played second base. They said, hey, we need you to play third. He played third excellent. He's a baseball player. I think Matt Shaw is going to be a really good player. He just needs to go through that progression more, just like Alex Bregman did when he was coming up in the big leagues, right? Look, again, if you take a look at Alex Bregman's numbers, ladies and gentlemen, right? These are his numbers. 2.1 WAR his first year, right? He only got 201 at-bats. He had a 4.3 WAR when they gave him the reps, right? It's a progression. Look at this progression for him. This is what we do, right? Last year was kind of a down year. But look, 4.5, 4.9, 4.1. I don't know what Alex Bregman we're getting, but it's an absolute upgrade to our offense, and there's no doubt about it. So, where does that leaves the question here, ladies and gentlemen? Is this team better than the 2025 team? And I have to say yes. Right away, on paper, I like this team much more. I like PCA having that great experience. I like Michael Busch having that postseason experience. I like Matt Shaw gaining all that experience last year, right? Cade Horton learned that he could dominate baseball games. Obviously, adding Edward Cabrera, I'm curious to see how that works out. I like our pitching lab in this situation. There's no doubt about it. Bregman, professional hitter. I think he's going to bring a lot of calm presence to this lineup. Seiya gets the protection he deserves. PCA, Michael Busch, all those guys. Nico Hoerner's going to hit. We know that's what he does. I hope Miguel Amaya can stay healthy and he can still continue to produce. Vegas Vegas knew something was happening when they gave the Cubs that favorite. Now the Cubs are probably the favorite to win the division by a few games or so. We still have to take care of the Brewers, though. We still have to beat the Milwaukee Brewers. It's just like the Bears today, literally, right? Like, you have to exercise those demons because the Brewers have won the Central for the past whatever amount of years, right? They've won the Central. You have to go take it from them. You have to go dominate them and go out and do what you do. Good on the Cubs. Dropping the bag, spending that money. Let's hope in 2026 we have an absolutely fun season. We can get to the NLCS. I'm not sure if this lineup can compete with the Dodgers necessarily on paper, but again, if PCA takes another step in the progression, Michael Busch, maybe he has another level we don't know yet. There's talent, there's development, there's hope. There's hope here in the Windy City. So that's going to do it for today's edition, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to hop on quick, give you guys my instant reaction to Alex Bregman becoming a Chicago Cub. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1K, and we're almost at our destination. A few more, and we're there, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you all have an absolutely happy Sunday. First and foremost, go Bears, and go Cubs.